Guys need their tribe. Anytime that you can get a group of men together in their own environment, the conversations that are had, they're with their people that understand it. That's their happy place.
Men want to fix shit.
Yep.
That's how we are. Men are problem solvers. What's the problem? What's the fix? Do the thing.
There's nothing wrong for asking for help, but especially when people are coming out offering help.
The acceptance of help has nothing to do with your capabilities.
That's the biggest issue that a lot of blokes will face when a mate does come to them and go, oh, that's an easy fix. Fuck, that's not a good thing to say to someone who's pouring their soul out to you.
The correct way to deal with a mate coming for help is to welcome to the Better Bloke Podcast. I'm Matty.
I'm Rob.
And we're just a pair of average blokes on a mission to try and be a little bit less average.
We're going to speak about all things highs and lows of what it feels like to be a bloke, plus speak to some legends along the way about what it takes to be a better bloke. Let's get stuck in. We are back for another episode of the Better Bloke Podcast, where today we're going to speak about life, speak about our charity that we have, because it's good to remind people that we're not just a podcast. We are a fully registered, not-for-profit Australian charity.
Yeah, so we're well and truly into 2025 now. Things have kicked off. The end of 2024 was really about, solidifying what we were doing with the project. We were able to run a shitload of events during that time, get the podcast well and truly going. 2024 saw heaps of cool guests on, but this year's all about doing more of those events and doing new events, doing stuff like that to get the community together, get the boys together. Of course, continue the podcast, have more chats, learn a bunch of new stuff from new people. And yeah, I guess really take on what we're trying to do in a real way.
I see it more of, we're already adding value to our listeners, I hope. If we're adding value, feel free to reach out to us. But just the boys that we're speaking to out in public in the spaces that we're giving them, I feel like the value's already there, but we want to give more value.
Large scale, like I know you're a massive fan of the in-person conversations.
Yep.
And that's, I did a barbecue and chill event a few weeks ago, had a couple boys come in, and guys came to chat. Like we're making them family friendly, so boys are coming in, just mingling. But some guys come in with, there's a certain thing going on in my life, and I know these guys might have something to say about it, or they'll just listen. So I really like that, and I think the more times we can give people opportunity to do that, it might only be a small percentage of the amount of guys that come to our events, but I think that's like super powerful. I'd love to do that on large scale, community things all the time.
I think even if you're hosting these events and only one person that comes there has a conversation, that's a win.
Yeah, we had a couple at the end of last year, and, they were in December. They were the day after Christmas parties. There was one where it was like torrential rain, so the turnout wasn't very good. And I wasn't at all upset. I didn't class it as a fail because not a lot of people came, because there was two conversations in particular with two guys that needed to happen. And I think there was a lot of benefit to them. And I drove home. It was like an hour and a half drive to get there. I drove home going, that's a win. I love it. Yeah.
That's 100% it. And I think that's something that's taken me a little while as we're kicking this off, is to go like, what's considered a win, what's not considered a win. I think anything that I feel we're actually making a difference is 100% a win.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
If it's a positive force in the world, that's it.
It's
right?
Ripple effects. From one small ripple, big waves are made.
Yeah. Is it more positive, more negative? Obviously, it's pretty much all positive because we're trying to do good shit. So January has been off to a good start. So we came back from Summer Nats, did that whole event down there, and we've just run like the first barbecue event of the year.
Yep.
But we're rolling into some pretty new and exciting ones as well.
We are. It's going to be a year full of new adventures, I think. That's probably the best way to put it. New collaborative efforts.
Adventures, experiences. We did one last year in the jiu-jitsu scene. We've spoken about that before. We got one coming up this weekend, which is a completely different scene, but it's much the same as going into an existing community and I guess bringing in what we're talking about and what we're doing and just mingling with that scene. And it's kind of a hunting and cooking weekend away, boys trip out. I don't even know how to explain it.
Primal.
Primal. So there's a guy called Gordon, awesome dude, had plenty of chats with him, and he runs this event every year on his parents' property. He's a big avid hunter himself, and he gets a lot of the community together from New South Wales and Victoria, and he runs this 3-day event. Come out, it's archery, it's rifles. He gets some of the big sort of chefs in the scene who process venison, essentially.
Yeah. So it's like game cooking and
all that stuff. And obviously all the guys that come, this is like their primary hobby. So to be together with that many boys is exactly like the jiu-jitsu thing. They start being able to bond over shared experiences and have this one event every year that they get to really dig their teeth into, pardon the pun.
That's a good one.
Oh, you like that? Yeah.
It's a dad joke from a not dad.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I think this is going to be one of my favorite events because it's something I've always actually wanted to do, this living off the land thing, sustainable hunting and learning all this stuff. Super exciting.
Just that was the most vegan way to explain hunting. Living off the land and being sustainable.
Yeah, we're going to shoot some shit.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think I'm a big advocate for, obviously we both are, but anytime that you can get a group of men together in their own environment, like we've said it time and time again, guys need their tribe. Once they're in their tribe, the conversations that are had, they may not necessarily be all the heavy, hard-hitting conversations all the time, but when they do lean into that side, they're with their people that understand it, and that's their happy place. So you want to have those conversations in a happy place.
Leany, the artist, he was the one that put us in touch with this guy. Gordon called me up and we were just having a chat about what we actually do here at the project. And I kind of said to him pretty bluntly, I'm like, we don't want to get these boys together in a campsite, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and then start crying together. We want to be doing all the shit that they're there to do.
Yep.
And at the same time, we're having these shoulder-to-shoulder conversations, just bloke stuff, life stuff. Let's talk about what's going on. And with the overarching, idea that the Better Bloke Project is there and what we do, it provides like a little bit of extra space for them to talk to one another, talk to us. And I don't know, it sets a slightly different tone without changing what it is they're actually doing.
Yeah, and I think that's our whole approach to it even with Summernats. We've spoken about it many times. We're not there to have the conversations unless obviously people want to come. It's us putting it out there saying, hey, if you want to have these conversations, the opportunity is here to do so. And just by us doing so, like, I guess, flying the flag, so to speak, it's enough to make guys go, oh, just a little bit in the back of their head. Much like when we spoke to Jimmy, he just trickles it in. Guys don't want to have that feeling of needing to open up all the time. Just trickle it in, let them know that, yeah, it's available if it's there, but that's essentially it.
We're fast approaching a year since we actually launched this, which sounds kind of crazy, actually.
Scary.
Yeah, it's still a few months off. What do you think is some of the biggest things you've learned going into this project about men?
About men.
About the men that we're trying to deal with, because, we've done the Blokes Advice thing. We've seen a lot of it, but this is a little bit different.
This is, I wouldn't say it's so different to how we've done the Blokes Advice thing, but I think the fact that we've lent into the Better Bloke Project the way in which we have, it's very much told me that the way that we do it works, just with the conversations that we're having. It's not heavy all the time. We still throw banter around. We'll have a laugh, but then from us building that rapport with all these blokes, the opportunity is there. If they feel comfortable enough to talk, they will.
What do you see as some of the primary things that these men that we deal with are facing?
At the moment, it's hardship it's financial hardship. That's the heavy thing. Guys are feeling so many burdens and pressures on them to provide for their family, and it's fucking hard at the moment. Like, so hard. Especially like we're just coming through the end of Christmas last month, that guys were literally stretching themselves to breaking point just to be able to provide presents for their kids, gifts for the missus, food for the family. A lot of the boys I spoke to were working casual jobs, so they weren't getting paid that whole period. So it was rough.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things I've seen leans directly into that. And it's mainly the guys dealing with the amount of burdens and responsibilities that they have. That's financial. But like you said, the casual thing, they feel like they have to take time off for their family during this period. Okay, now I'm lacking on time and I'm lacking on money, and the time could be money. How am I going to put the food on the table? To all manner of other things that they feel like they're not doing well enough. They're setting expectations on themselves of what they should be, what a man should be, what they should do. That's providing, protecting, all those masculine things, down to being, caring, spending enough time with their kids. Name the amount of things that a man needs to do. But the impact that has on blokes, that's what I've really seen as a primary factor of guys struggling.
It's, I think we've spoken about this so many times, and I've spoken about it with a few guys, that men are so self-critical on themselves. So I will never sit here and judge you as hard as you're going to judge yourself. Guys just don't do that. But you are going to be your harshest critic, and you're never going to fulfill your own expectations of what you feel you should be. It's rough, but it is, and I'm the same. Like I will judge myself so hard, and I will critique myself, being like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. You'll never get to that point. Like our expectations of ourselves are perfection. Like we've said so many times, perfection is unattainable. We should always aim for it, but there comes a point where you need to stop being so self-critical on yourself and just go, I'm doing okay. I'm doing good.
That's the balance, right? It's setting expectations for yourself while understanding you're doing a good enough job.
Yep.
It's not self-love for the sake of you should love yourself no matter who you are. It's being able to recognize the achievements that you have made, or the success that you have done, or the value that you do provide. You're not going to always be perfection. You're not going to be the 100% guy every single day. Probably never.
No.
And if everyone can start loving themselves, as much as that sounds soppy, a teeny bit more, it just gives you space to feel better about yourself, and then you start achieving more. It's like when you get on a roll with something, you know how people talk about the law of attraction? Once you start winning, you start putting yourself into this different mindset where things start coming to you a little bit better. And I don't believe in a lot of that spiritual stuff, but I definitely think that the positive mind frame makes more positive things happen.
100%. I completely agree that positivity breeds positivity. And if you're a person that's out there being super positive, you're going to create that environment around you where more people are going to be positive. It's very hard to get to that winning mindset if you're in that position where you're like, shit, everything's going wrong. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. You can stay hungry, but you need to, like we've said so many times, stack those little wins. Celebrate the little wins. Don't maybe loving yourself off the rip is not possible just yet. Love yourself a little bit, or love something you do. It's like that baseline theory. You know where you're at now, just a little bit better tomorrow, a little bit better the next day.
That's like a Rob quote. Maybe you can't love yourself, but love something you do.
Yeah.
Right? Is there something you do that you can see as a positive force in the world, like we just spoke about? And if not, how do you create it?
Because I think that's the issue with, I can't speak for like people, but I know for men, like I can speak from the perspective of a bloke. So many of us go, okay, I need to fix this and fix it like ASAP. That shit doesn't happen with a lot of this sort of stuff. This sort of stuff is like, you need to train yourself to get to that level. You're not going to go, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to love myself. No, you've set yourself up for failure, because you might wake up and you'll be like, oh, fuck this. I've got to go to the job that I hate doing. I've got bills coming in. I've got this coming up. No, don't do that. Just little bits. Just, set small achievable goals.
I'm going to sound a bit like wishy-washy very spiritual on this one. But
as opposed to however many different times you do that.
yeah. Something you just said with the default thing is like men want to fix shit.
Yep.
That's supernatural. That's how we are. Men are problem solvers. It's very much a masculine response. What's the problem? What's the fix? Do the thing.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt to first approach a situation with a bit more of a feminine response, a little bit of compassion, a little bit of love, understanding. And that doesn't mean sitting around, being sad for yourself or anything like that. It means caring, love, nurturing, more maternal thought processes towards yourself to understand the situation. And if you do that just before you go in with the problem solving fix, it's going to put you in like the space where you feel more understood, even by yourself, to go in and do the solution. What's the thing? Let's do it done. Let's do the masculine thing now. I think it's important that there's a little bit of that in touch with the feminine traits.
See, I get a bit triggered when people say that like the caring and nurturing and loving thing is a feminine trait. That's still very much a masculine trait too.
If you think of it in terms of motherly and fatherly, you would say they have different roles.
Fathers are very loving too, though. They just show it in a different way.
Are they, or are they guiding? I'm not saying they don't love their kids, obviously.
See, I think like guiding and loving's two very similar things.
So would you say the way a mother and a father shows their love is in a maternal and paternal way, a masculine and a female way? So it's the same emotion of love, but the traits that put it out into the world is different.
I can't speak for the way that anyone else parents or shows love or anything, but like the way that Jess and I show love to the kids it is very different. Where Jess is probably more that maternal, like, I'm going to cuddle you when you're hurt. Where I'm very much I'll cuddle you when you're hurt, but get up and brush yourself off. I'm still giving them a cuddle when they're hurt, but
I would say that is
it
a
off.
definition of masculine versus feminine in the terms of portraying
I'm
love.
still giving them the cuddle. I'm just then extending that further with brush it off, get back to it.
Let us know what you think. The reason I thought about this was because I was thinking about how do you deal with a mate that comes to you and asks for help? Because as men, we do go to the problem solving thing. It's easy to look at his problems as not much of a problem, but to him, they're very real. They're his reality. To you, it might seem like easy fix, just do this, get rid of the girl, work more out, whatever it is. There's the solution. But because the problems are real to him, he's emotionally invested into them. I think the correct way to deal with a mate coming for help is to go into that caring stage. And that doesn't mean give him a hug. That can just mean give him a moment, give him space, let him speak, let him feel heard and understood, and then be like, you know what? I think this is a shit we need to get done for you to move through this. Because if you go straight with a, mate, it's not a big deal, just go and dump her.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
different response.
that's the biggest issue that a lot of blokes will face is when a mate does come to them, they, not that they sort of discount what the issue is and go, oh, that's an easy, as soon as you say like, oh, that's an easy fix, just do this, that makes a guy go, oh, fuck. Like I've spent the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks longer worrying about this. It's been weighing me down. And I've just poured out my issue in a vulnerable state, which is a yuck thing to say. But yeah, you've shown strength by showing someone what your issue is to then just go, oh, easy fix. Let's just do this. Like, fuck, that's not a good thing to say to someone who's pouring their soul out to you.
But the guy doing it is doing it in a masculine way of caring.
He is, but
Let's fix the problem. I'm here to help you. Let's fix it. Don't
Yeah.
worry, it's not a big deal. Let's fix it. But by giving that little space of understanding that this is a problem, I hear you. I reckon we can do this. I think it's just like a different way of dealing with things.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've started noticing a lot more since we've been doing this project, because I was probably very much down that path of, okay, yep, sweet, what can we do to sort that out?
Because it's a natural thing to do.
play. Yeah.
That's the same with me. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about it, because I'm, having these chats at events and I'm like, I don't do anything. I'll just sit there and listen and then be like, oh, look, I've seen some other boys do this, or, a bit softer in the, this is your solution. But for the majority of it, it's just me kind of giving space. And yeah, it's a natural default for a guy not to do that bit, but I think that's a bit that makes the solution come across as not dismissive.
It's all in the delivery of your solution. That's 100% what it is. Where if you take the time to actually go, hey, I feel what you're saying, I empathize with you. That's probably the biggest thing. It's the empathy. And then going into what could potentially be a solution, yeah, it's going to come across a lot better. I'm going to wind you back a bit there, though, as well, where you said guys won't go and just give their mate a hug like women will and that. Fuck that. Give your boys more hugs. That's something that, I don't know, guys need to give and receive more hugs.
Yeah.
And that's coming from like someone that probably most people would look at me and go like, oh, this guy's not a hugger. I'm a big hugger. Hugs make people feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, but you're less cuddly now. You dropped the weight.
I'm still got a bit more to drop, but I'm still cuddly. I can still be cuddly.
No, I like cuddling blokes. Love cuddling blokes.
We're going to clip that up. That's going to be great.
But what I mean, I'm like, you don't have to hold them like you would a child. You don't have to be like, everything will be okay.
No, it's not like
hugging blokes is fine.
Yeah,
I'm here for you, brother.
Give your mate a hug and don't make it sensual. Like, just give your mate a hug and just be like, fuck yeah, man. Like, a quick 2 pats on the back and then separate. Like, a hug goes a long way for boys to, I don't know, just feel close.
Is there anything else that we've learned during this process that you think would be good for guys to have front of mind as we head into 2025?
Accept help. That's my biggest thing, where for so long I myself as a bloke would go, I don't need your help. I've got this. That's silly. If you've got guys that are wanting to help and do their bit, you're really bad for this too. So am I. It's guys that have the same sort of mission and ethos as us of reaching out and trying to help and wanting to help and just be involved. And for so long I was like, oh, I'll do it. You were very much the same. You'll do it. I'm now finding that these guys that are wanting to help have the same reason behind it as we do. And I'm like, yes, sweet, let's all work together. Many hands make light work. That's probably one of the biggest things I've taken out of, this little bit so far that I'm trying to work towards is, letting go of the grip a little bit more and letting some other people hold on.
Yeah, I'm terrible for it.
I know.
And
you're a lot better.
I'm trying to get better. The acceptance of help has nothing to do with your capabilities.
No.
Which is the line that I have to sort of break down. I'm like, I can put responsibility on other people. I think I got to trust that they can do it right, which we've got to now.
Yes, we have. It took a very, very long time.
But I'm like, if they're going to fuck it up, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
No. Especially there's nothing wrong for asking for help, but especially when people are coming out offering help, that's when it should be easier to accept that, but it's not for some reason, because guys are idiots. We're dumb. And we want to beat our chest and be macho and show that we are the protectors and the providers. It's ancestral. It's in our DNA. But yeah, we just need to take a step back and go, this guy wants to help, or this lady wants to help, or this person wants to help, whoever wants to help, I'm going to let them, because you never know, that might be the thing that they need as well.
My thing for guys to think about this year would be around purpose. We speak about purpose a lot. I think it's a driving factor in living a happy, healthy, fulfilling
life.
Fulfilling life.
There we go.
If you don't have a goal, what do you have? Not a lot.
No.
To frame how to find your purpose, I think it has a lot to do with picking something that has a certain uncertainty because if you know something's going to happen, it's not actually exciting. But it matches a level of skill you have. So it's not completely up to chance. You know that you have the skills to probably get it done. So it's where uncertainty meets skill going towards a goal.
Disagree with you there.
Oh, why?
Like, not with the purpose. I 100% agree with you on the purpose. But if someone's purpose is here and they may not have the skill for that, part of their purpose will be skilling themselves up to be able to get to that point.
They have some sort of skill to get that.
To get themselves skilled.
Yes.
Well, that's their purpose. They're learning. Learning is their purpose then.
Well, then their purpose is learning. Their purpose isn't the thing they're getting the skill to do.
It's like purposeception.
Let's put an imaginary purpose-driven goal.
Yep.
Pick one. What could someone do? What could be their purpose? What's a goal that they could set in 2025 that we can dissect and apply this to?
Okay, let's go one that's close to my heart. Let's say a boxing match that's coming up in April.
Well, this completely backs up my point. You have some skills that may or may not be good enough to let you win. So there's an uncertainty in the fact that you're going to win this fight. You have some skills and the ability to build on them, which makes the whole process of working towards a goal exciting. If you knew 100% you were going to knock him out flat, it would be less exciting. It would be less fulfilling. And you wouldn't have the purpose to go to the gym. You wouldn't have the purpose to, do all the things you're doing that are benefiting you. Well, because what's the point? You're going to win anyway. It needs that uncertainty, and you need the skill to know that you could, with the work, turn it into reality.
But I think that's the thing with boxing, though, is unless you're putting in the work and you're getting yourself up that mountain, it's never going to be definitive that that's what's going to happen.
It could be. You could be fighting me.
But even then you've said it could be. That's not a definitive thing.
It depends who you're fighting.
Again, it depends who. That's not a definitive thing. Like you're saying, like if you knew you were going to go out and win that fight, you wouldn't train. You're never going to know that you're going to go out and win a fight.
You would if you were fighting me.
You could clip me.
Could. But it'd be a lot different, right? Like, you don't agree with what I'm saying still?
I do. I just don't agree with that bit that it's like a definitive thing, because boxing's never a definitive.
Just trying to plug holes in my argument.
Look, you do this to me every single week.
But the uncertainty does make it exciting.
I think I 100% agree with you.
I don't think you haven't had this much fire and purpose for like just one little thing. Like this has lit you up. This has been a lot of purpose given to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's because there's a level of uncertainty, and you know that it could become a reality if you put in the work.
Definitely. Yeah.
Sweet. So you agree. Moving on.
Okay. Yeah. It's not nice, is it?
Hit us with the bloke of the week. What do we got?
Okay. So the bloke of the week is a man that this bloke of the week sort of carried through to the new year. This is a bloke that had his fair share of hardships last year, and he was doing little things in the group called stump dates. So our bloke of the week goes to Shane. So Shane lost his leg, and every week he what?
Where'd he lose it?
Well, that's half the point. He lost it.
Oh.
If he knew where it was, it wouldn't be lost, would it?
I guess so.
No. So I just want to give a special shout out to Shane for utilising the group and his journey and his pain of what he went through to be able to sort of show others that, hey, this is what's happening. I'm staying positive. And he was very, very vocal with the fact that, there was hard days, but he sort of just bounced through it and stayed positive. And I think it's pretty fair to say that he's bloke of the week for just being able to show the ups and the downs.
And so he kept guys updated through the whole process. Sort of, this is where I'm at this week, and update here. It's kind of good for guys to see too, because arguably he's got it worse than some of what's going on in other guys. It puts perspective into their lives. So yeah, Bloke of the Week. We got a merch pack coming your way. So Bloke of the Week now, we're going to do Blokes Advice packs. So we'll send some shirts your way. And if anyone else wants to get some merch and support the charity, blokesadvice.com.
So that's probably a good way to round off.
Yeah, I reckon we can round it out there. For any events that are going on, you can go to betterblokeproject.org. You'll see all the barbecue ones. The hunting one is sold out. So that's done and dusted. You'll have to catch us on the next one, I guess.
You will. And there will be plenty of more coming up throughout the year. So like Matty said, jump over to betterblokeproject.org, hit the events tab. You'll see everything that's got coming up. We are going to be a lot more organised with having events further out this year. So, yeah, jump in. We'll come to a park near you or hopefully work with someone. If anyone's got any events coming up that they want to work with us with, we are more than happy to have a chat with them.
Thanks, guys. And on that note,
be better. Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Better Bloke. If you got anything out of it, show some love by dropping a 5-star review below.
If you want to learn more about everything we're doing, head to the description, hit the links and follow us on the socials. If you want to learn more about the project, head to betterblokeproject.org.